Welcome to the Christy Jones Show. This is your go-to podcast for living life to the fullest. I am a life and empowerment coach, speaker, and business owner in multifamily real estate. I am a woman passionate about helping others build a life that they truly desire. We'll talk about how to make the most out of every day, from setting meaningful goals to embracing the present moment. So join us as we explore the depths of living a life that is full of joy, purpose, and satisfaction. Well, hello. Welcome back to another week of the Christy Jones Show. All the things to live your life to the fullest. And I'm super excited today to talk about, do you want to be a habit hero? Do you want to be a hero in your own habit forming story? I'm going to talk about that today. I really think that right about now, because I'm recording this and it's like third week of January. And I really feel like that kind of at this point, um, if you were a person that tried to implement some changes and some new habits in at the beginning of the year, I feel like right now is kind of like that pivotal moment where people are like, I'm out, I'm done. I don't I don't want to do this anymore. They start losing momentum or not. They're still like full steam ahead. So, but I feel like right now, just because a lot of people look at a new year at a time to kind of revamp some habits, that right now is just that kind of that real sticky time, right? That it can go either way at this point for you. So I want to say that first of all, can we just have a moment for these new earrings that I got? Um, Bought these about a week ago, and I'm into hoops lately. What's that all about? Seems like every earring lately that I'm drawn to, it's really sparkly. I like sparkles. What can I say? And two, it's a hoop earring. So I don't know. Is this 2024? Is it the year of the hoop earring for me? Who knows? Who knows? Also having some green tea because it's good for you. And it's cold outside and I don't know, it just seems good right now. So yeah, so hoop earrings and green tea. That is not the topic for the day. I don't know. I just had to give a little shout out for the fabulous little sparkle there. It's costume jewelry, by the way. So um and they're lightweight too. So, who doesn't love a fabulous pair of fun earrings? Also, again, wasn't planning on talking about this, and we are going to talk about habits today. But I always, I kind of just go off on these little side chats sometimes, because I know you do too in your life. I mean, when we have conversations, do they ever really just go in a straight line? No. We have all these little side streets we go down, right? So we're having a conversation right now. Um, Yeah, so earrings are kind of just been my thing lately. And if you want to, couple things, if you aren't feeling fabulous and you're like, what is something that I can do to just kind of up my game today? Maybe give me that little instant fab feel. Two things: lipstick, lip gloss, whatever you choose your poison, and earrings. There you go. You're welcome. All right. So let's get into it and talk about habits. Do you want to be habit hero? I do. And I love implementing and having success at creating new positive habits. So let's just get right into it. So let me just start by saying that, have you ever heard that and the research shows this. I mean, if you just go Google it, if you Google it, here's what you're gonna find. You're gonna find that most if you go Google it, here's what you're going to find. You're going to find that most habits take, they say, 21 days to really implement. Now, I will say that if you're going to say that it only takes 21 days to create and like embed a habit, probably one of the, I don't know if I'll use the word easier habit, but let's just say, yeah, I don't know, an easier habit. How else do we want to say it? I mean, one that maybe isn't that complex. So that might be true, but a lot of habits, they can take longer to implement and become a part of just I like to say a part of your DNA to where it's automatic, right? Because a habit to me really is working when I'm not having to think about it and have so much like of my brain space being taken up by this habit. When it doesn't take as much brain space for me, then I feel like, okay, this is a little more automatic for me. So a lot of times that's taken more than 21 days. I'm just going to say. But if you Google it, you're going to commonly find, books and experts and all the people are going to say you can create a new habit in 21 days. And there is a lot of truth to that. But I'm trying to say, I looked it up. There was a study. I'll look it up. I've got it here in my notes. Here it is right here. I found it was European Journal of Social Psychology. In 2009, there was a study that suggested that on average, it takes a little over 60 days for a new behavior, a new habit to become automatic. I think it said 65 days specifically, but in my brain, when I see 65, I'm like, okay, a little more than 60 days. So that seems a little more realistic to me for the majority of habits or new behaviors that we like to incorporate into our life. So anyways, but realize that the range when you're trying to create a new behavior, trying to create a new habit, look, there's a wide range. It goes back to there's no one size fits all. So relax if you're in the midst of creating a new habit or a new behavior for yourself and you're at that 21-day mark, that 30-day mark, and you're like, this is hard. This is not a habit for me yet. Chill out. It's fine. Like it can take up to, when I was researching this, it can take up to 250, 260 days to really have a habit that sticks, that becomes really part of who you are. So just know that there's a wide range. And when you hear the 21 days, yes, that can apply to some behaviors and habits, but not all of them. All right, so let me just kind of jump into this because a new habit, when you're trying to incorporate a new habit, and like I said, a lot of people love to do this at the beginning of a new year. And I will say that I happen to be a fan of, like, I don't stick to that whole, like, it's a new year, so now I'm going to I don't do resolutions. I lean into intentional living, but I may want to change some habits. I may want to change some behaviors. I may want to level up different, habits or behaviors that I have, areas of my life, but I don't wait. And I'm just not the person that waits until January to do that. My philosophy is there's 365 days in a year, and I can do that really any day that I want to. I don't need to like have this turn of a new year to decide that I'm going to implement some new strategies, some new behaviors, some new habits. So, food for thought. That's just how I roll. So I literally can decide tomorrow on a particular item that I want to change this and I want to create a new habit, and then I get a plan. So you can do that on a Thursday in April if you want. You don't have to do it at the turn of the year. So that's just, I'm just tossing that out there in case you're like, gosh, I didn't make any resolutions or I didn't change any habits come January, the first of the month. That's fine. You might decide you want to do that right now. You might decide you want to do that next week. You can do it whenever you want to. So don't worry about the whole new year resolution thing. If it's not for you, it's not for you. If it works for you, do it. That's great. All right. So how do we know what are some of the kind of the moving parts to habits? And I'm going to talk about those. So the complexity of the habit. Simple habits, they can be easier to weave into your life and to adopt as an automatic thing. The more simple the habit is, it's going to take less time to make that part of your routine, part of your behavior. The more complex a habit is, those are the ones that are going to take a little longer. Okay. So example, let's say your nighttime routine, winding down your nervous system, calming it down at the end of the day. Let's say one of the things that you want to do is you don't want to whip out the iPad. You don't want to be scrolling on your phone, but you want to, read for 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever that number is. And you want to, get not on a lighted iPad, because if you have read anything or looked into that, that light stimulates a lot in our brain, and it keeps us up. So it doesn't get us in that restful, the best restful state for sleep. So, the old fashioned read a book, read a magazine, something like that is best. So maybe you want to adopt a practice like that, to where, instead of being on my laptop, being on my iPad, being on my phone, I want to read for the last 20 minutes of the night before I go to bed, and really just calm the nervous system. And I want to read something easy. I don't want to read a problem that I got to solve, like a murder mystery or anything like that. So that habit might seem a little easier for you to incorporate. It might not, you might be able to create that automatic habit in 3 weeks, in 4 weeks, and it'd be like no big deal. There might be some habits or behaviors that are a little more complex. Maybe you are wanting to adjust let's say you are wanting to adjust from a nutritional standpoint, and you're basically really looking at, maybe it's intuitive eating. Maybe you're wanting to really tap into what your body feels that it needs. And I know we all feel like we need a donut sometimes, and sometimes honestly we do. We really do. But no, if you're trying to restructure your nutrition and make sure that you're getting enough protein and really limiting the processed foods, and just kind of cleaning all that up, okay? Depending on how far that pendulum has swung for you and how far away you are from what your goal of better nutritional eating is, that could potentially be a very complex habit for you, because maybe you're coming from a place where, and I'm just using this as an example. Maybe you're coming from a place where, most days of the week you grab fast food because, time, money, what have you. So you're just whipping through a drive-through and doing that. And then at night, maybe it's ordering takeout. And breakfast, like, never seen it, never eaten it, don't even know what that means. Like, breakfast might be a Kit Kat bar, or, I don't know, something like that, a candy bar, a Snickers. Hey, it has peanuts, right? You're thinking, okay, this kind of works. It gets me going. Depending on where you are right now on what you've been feeding your body, that goal potentially, that might be like, not goal, but that habit might be a very complex habit. Is it doable? Yes, it is. But realize, the more complex the habit is, you got to allow yourself more time to work through the moving parts of that, so that it becomes more automatic. So that, if you're doing like a complete overhaul, like what I just described from a nutritional standpoint, there's so many moving parts to that, right? First of all, you've never been someone to eat breakfast, consume anything before 12, 1 o'clock. And you're wanting to, start giving yourself something in the morning. Well, just creating that habit alone is going to take some time, is going to take some structure, is going to take some planning. Same with lunch. Instead of whipping through the drive-through and getting the, number 2 supersized, you're going to have to take the time to plan and prepare. Maybe you pack a lunch, maybe you take it with you. Which makes me think, they have those really cute at Target the other day, I don't know. I don't know what aisle I was on, but it was so cute. Those containers that are like insulated that you can, pack your food in for the day, especially if you're a person that's like on the go, at the office, on the road, whatever, and it keeps it cold. There's so many cute options. Just saying, in case you like to shop, check that out. All right. So, but do you follow what I'm saying? So if you're trying to establish a habit that is really far from what you are currently practicing, I don't know if it's really realistic for you to say, I better have this like buttoned up and done in 21 days. That's an example of a more complex habit that you want to give yourself a little longer so that behavior has a little more time to really become automatic. So first is the complexity of the habit. Second thing is individual differences. So you're hearing this, and if this is the first time you've thought about, creating a new habit, this is a new venture for you. This will be the first time that you've tried to do that. If you are a person that is used to and experienced at always reevaluating their habits and behaviors, deciding what works best for you right now, deciding what might need to change either by choice or necessary. Sometimes habits changes, well, they're necessary in that, like, if you want to be healthy and live and have a better quality of life, sometimes doctors tell you, like, you need to walk 3 times a week. You need to do this. I mean, sometimes we get that information given to us, right? Yeah. So when we get that information given to us, we're like, crap, I got to make some changes. I got to do some things. I got to create some new habits. So if it's your first time to have to do something like that, this creating a new habit and a new behavior is, it's going to have a little more feeling of challenge to you. If you are a person, like I said, that is used to developing new habits, new behaviors, and you kind of already know your personality, you know what motivates you. You got to really, and again, here's where self-awareness comes in. Oh my goodness, how many times do I talk about self-awareness, you guys? Self-awareness, it is so important. It is so important. So knowing your personality, knowing what motivates you, knowing what works for you, if you've kind of done this a few times on different habits, different behaviors, then you go into it knowing what you need to set up for yourself so that you will be successful at creating this new habit. So you got complexity of the habit. You've got each of us having individual differences when it comes to forming a new habit. And then let's talk about the frequency, the repetition part of that. So the more frequent or repetitive this new thing, this new habit that you're wanting to weave into your world, the more often that comes about, that is more likely to become a habit for you. So if you have a behavior or something that you're wanting to change, and it's something that you only come across once every 2 weeks or once a week, it's going to take it might not. I'm just saying, this is like the norm of what I see. It's going to take longer for that habit to stick. Now, something like I talked about nighttime routine a minute ago. So something like that, you're doing it every stinking night, right? That one, you're doing it over and over and over and over every night. That one, you're going to get in the flow, like you're going to get a routine going. So how frequently this habit behavior comes up, that's going to have a direct effect to how quick the formation of that habit happens. That sounded like a tongue twister right there. I'm not sure I can even repeat that whole sentence again. Habit formation. All right. So also know when you're working through that your own level of commitment matters and is a really huge contributor to that. So you need to do a little gut check on what is your level of commitment towards this habit, towards this change in behavior. What's your level of commitment? When you have a really strong desire, and if you're able to really attach the reason why you're wanting to change that behavior, if you have a really strong, passionate reason, you have a much higher success rate at that new habit sticking. And I would hope that your level of commitment comes solely from you wanting to do this because you love yourself, whatever that habit is, whatever that positive change is. My hope is that you're doing that because you want to show up for yourself, because you are worth it, that you are doing this for you, that you think highly of yourself, that you know, like, I deserve this. I deserve to feel amazing every stinking day. So I'm going to put my best foot forward to start making some of these changes in what I put into my body or what I feed my mind on a daily basis or how I wrap up my day and I calm my nervous system so I'm getting the best rest and sleep possible. I'm going to make a note because I am so going to do an episode on the importance of sleep and recovery because I've had that in my notes a while. And I just don't think everyone understands how critical recovery time is and rest, sleep, how important that is. That is a game changer. If you're feeling like crap, I'm telling you right now, it's a game changer. So level of commitment, I hope that level of commitment, it might come from an outside source. It might be that, I used the doctor thing earlier that they say, hey, you really need to start incorporating some movement, you need to walk 3 days a week, or I'm just tossing that out as an example. And you're doing it because they've told you and you're like, oh, okay. What I hope that transitions to for you is that you get to a place where you're doing it because you like yourself that much that you want to do what's going to help you be the best version of you. That's what I hope. It might start off with someone saying, hey, you really need to find a way to, sleep better, close out your day in a different way, calm your nervous system. It might come from an outside source at first, but I really hope that you get to a place where you're like, no, I want to be the best that I can be because I'm worth it. And I like who I am. I want you to really like who you are. So, level of commitment, I really hope that a lot of that comes just from your own desire to want to be the best that you can be for you because you are amazing, because you're worth it. So as I wrap up, I'm not really wrapping up, but final thing I want to bring up is I want to talk about when it comes to forming habits and new behaviors, I basically break it down into 3 stages. So I want to share that with you because I hate when people make things super complicated. I don't want, let's just cut to the chase. I don't need super complicated. I got enough complicated things to figure out in my day. So I like to let's just break this down. I got 3 stages when I look at new behaviors, new habits, and this is how I look at it. So basically a new habit goes through 3 stages. You've got the beginning. And in the beginning, anytime you start a new habit or a new behavior, what does it seem like? It seems freaking hard because you have to think about it and you have to have reminders and it just is hard. When you think about that first, they say the 21 days. So let's just say the first 3 weeks you're doing something new. It's hard, right? You're just like, ugh, geez, why did I start this? But it is hard in those first, anytime you're in the beginning stage of changing a habit, changing a behavior, it can have some feelings of resistance. Then we get to after that, after like 3 weeks goes by, which is where I feel a lot of people are right now, which is why I'm recording this. I feel like you hit the middle stage. So about 3 weeks in to a new habit, new behavior, now we're in that messy middle. Do you know what happens in the messy middle? We start overthinking. We do. We start doing all this self-talk and we're like, why did I start this? I mean, is this new habit, is it even working? I don't think it's working. You have these conversations in your brain that I call it the messy middle, because we try to come up with all the reasons all of a sudden why this new habit isn't working. I don't see the results. I don't feel any different. Whatever it is, whatever that new habit is, we will start explaining it away somewhere in that middle. So somewhere after a few weeks, and this is where you might be right now by the time you hear this episode, is that you're in that messy middle and you're kind of on the fence. You kind of got like one foot over here. If you're watching this on YouTube, you know, I talk with my hands constantly. You got one foot over here. You're like, okay, I made the new habit. This was a good idea. I know this is good for me. And then you're like straddling the fence. Okay. And then you got one foot over here and you're like, this, I don't know why I really started this. And I don't know if it's really working for me, and it is taking up a lot of my time, and I'm really not seeing any differences, or I'm not feeling any different, or it's not having the effect that I thought it would. And you see what I'm saying? It's like that overthinking starts kicking in, because this is how our brain works, my friend. Our brain is so good. Our brain is so smart. It hates discomfort, hates it. Hates it. I want you to go write this down or type this in your notes on your phone. Christy Jones Show, episode 28. You got to go listen to that. It's on overthinking. This is when we're in this messy middle of forming a new habit or behavior, and we go into overthinking. So you need to go listen to episode 28. Is it 28? Yeah, episode 28 on overthinking. You got to go listen to that. After you listen to this one, go listen to 28. So in that messy middle, which can happen, somewhere around around the 3 week mark, we go into overthinking, and we really start questioning why we even thought this was a good freaking idea to start this new habit. And honestly, we really can't remember. I've done that before. I'm like, I don't remember why I started this. And I'm choosing not to remember, but you know what I'm saying? Have you been there? Have you been there? I'm sure you have. So if you could you got to just like, this is the middle, the messy middle. This is where you just got to dig in. You've got to like anchor in, and know that you're in the middle, and the middle is still really challenging, but you're trying to talk yourself out of this new habit and behavior. So acknowledge that you're in that middle, commit, don't give up, stay on it. It's just, this is the time. This is the time when the wheels start coming off the wagon. When the wheels come off the wagon is here. Okay. So bolt those babies on, just get it on. Let's get the wagon wheels just all the way secured on, and we're going to ride it out. Okay. Realize, depending on the complexity of the habit that you've chosen to implement, is going to depend like kind of where in this whole timeline of things, when it's going to start feeling like more of a natural automatic behavior. So give yourself some grace on that. And then after we get through that messy middle, right? And we're like locked in, we got the wagon wheels bolted on, we're like seeing it through, we're riding the wave. Finally, we get to the wrap up. And the wrap up time frame, that varies depending on you, all the things that I just said, the complexity, the individual, all the things. Okay. But when you're in that wrap up mode on a new behavior and a new habit, here's what it feels like. You go, huh, and you kind of feel different. You're noticing maybe some of the changes that you were hoping would be there from this new habit, whether they're visual, whether they're internal, whether it's, something like physically to look at, however that result ends up looking to you. But when you start feeling the flow, when you start feeling that flow, now you're entering the wrap up. This is becoming like the changes that have taken place in the brain after we have done the things to stay consistent and the repetition to create the new habit, the neuroplasticity, the changes within the brain structure, the way all those communication things that go on, those are firing up. Those are becoming like more embedded as an automatic for you. Okay. Which is that's what you've been waiting for. You've been waiting for this habit to feel something a little more automatic. So it's not so damn hard, right? And so the wrap up stage is when you start to feel more in flow. When you feel more in flow with this new behavior and this new habit, you start to see some results. And here's what ends up happening in this wrap up stage 3 is you're building momentum. You're building momentum. I talk about momentum all the time. It is a powerful thing. It is a powerful thing. And as you ride that wave of momentum, this is what is taking you to the finish line of this new habit. So, given all of these factors of, how habits form, you've got to be patient, you've got to be realistic, and you've got to understand that it is not a one size fits all timeline. Anyone who tries to tell you it's a one size fits all timeline on like just any habit, I urge you to just use some common sense there. Realize that every habit and every behavior is going to have its unique things. So there's going to be a different timeline. But those 3 stages, you've got the beginning stage. It seems hard. You feel the resistance. You're like, oh, you start questioning. You're like, I don't know. I don't know. And then you get to the messy middle. And that's when the overthinking kicks in and your brain goes to work. And your brain is now like, you know what? You might have made a mistake on this one. We're tired. This is stupid. This doesn't make any sense. Okay, so overthinking takes place in the messy middle. Episode 28, go listen to it. And then you enter the wrap up. And as you enter, how do you know you're in the wrap up? Because it feels easier. You're in that wrap up because things are starting to feel automatic. It is so exciting when you realize that when you've tried to be creating a new behavior in your life. And then, time goes by and then one day you just go, I'm trying to think of one that I recently did that I was so excited. Oh, so I was trying to incorporate, I pay attention to my protein intake. Women, hear me when I say, especially, well, it's always important, but when you are 40 and older, the importance and the amount of protein that feels best to you, that your body feels best at, it might be at a much higher amount than maybe what sustained you in your 20s and 30s. So know that. So that was the case for me. So I was in my late 40s really focusing on, making sure I was getting this certain amount of protein per day, which was challenging. It was really challenging. So one of the things I did, and also collagen powder, as I've just known and read and learned, I had learned so much benefits by the collagen. And so it seemed like that seems like a no-brainer, right? But you know how hard it was for me at first, like just to make this because I don't live on shakes alone. That doesn't work for me. I have to eat like real food. I'm an eater. I like food and my body likes food. And I feel best when I eat real food. But I started to incorporate a shake, a protein drink with a scoop of the collagen powder once a day. Like it might be in the morning, it might be mid-morning, it just kind of depended. But my goal was to, and especially just don't forget to put that collagen in there. And do you know, like, I know it was just taking a scoop of collagen and putting it in the protein drink that really I was already, I'd say I was further along on that habit. But why in the world it was so hard sometimes for me to remember to put that scoop of collagen in there? It was ridiculous. I was like, this is an easy task. This is an easy task, but it wasn't a habit yet. So I had like a note on the cabinet where I kept it that said, don't forget, put, whatever works for you, right? So then one day, time goes by. And then one day I'm in there and I'm just like, psh, 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 boom, 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 throwing my stuff in the blender. And I realized, didn't have to think about it. Wasn't a big, wasn't something that I went, okay, now I got to do this. And then I do this. And don't forget this. Like none of that went on in my brain. I was drinking the shake and I realized, I didn't even think about that. Like it was automatic. That is the best feeling ever. So that's a simple example, I know, but hey, a lot of the habits that we try to create are just like normal, everyday, routine things, right? Little things that we can do to improve our life, our quality of life. So I was so excited when I realized, I've been making this and I'm not really thinking about it. So it's become a habit. Now it's a new behavior. It's more automatic. So that is the goal, my friends. That is the goal. And when that happens, it feels so good. So good. So I guess I'm going to wrap this up. And I really want to make sure that you hear that instead of focusing on the number of days that it's going to take to create this new habit and this new behavior, I want you to concentrate more on being consistent and repetitive and staying focused on that effort. Because if you stay consistent and you stay competitive and quit focusing on I'm 22 days, I'm at 23 days, I'm at 25 days, I'm at 6 months. Take the focus off of what day you're on and just focus on consistency and the repetitive effort. If you do that, it will feel better to you. You will get there. You will stay on task to create this new behavior that you're wanting to do. So I hope you have found that helpful. It has worked for me tremendously. It has worked for my clients tremendously. And I hope that you're able to take some of this information and put it to use for yourself too. All right. Okay. So as always, I so appreciate you following along on this podcast and being a part of my Christy Jones show, Living Life Fully. If you have episode ideas, please, drop me a DM, drop me an email, let me know, because I want to bring you content that you want to hear more about. And as always, please rate, review, and follow the show. All right, go make the rest of your week great, and I will see you very soon. Take care.